Actually, hold up. Okay. Okay, so I don't. This is a microphone test. If anything, I want to see if you guys are just able to hear me or if I'm able myself right now. I don't know. Testing, 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 testing. Let me mute the TV. Testing. 1, 2, 2. Testing. Let me mute the TV. So, from my understanding, it does work if you don't have the headset in. That's interesting. That's really interesting. So, I guess we're just gonna have to, like this. I really can't say I understand why this is letting me do a plane set I saw on YouTube. A lot of people are not comfortable with the setup on how the headset thing works. And you know what? There are some flaws and ahs to the ps5, which we're playing on. And this is no more than a test, just to see if this works with the microphone. Because the stream a couple of times, nothing. And I know they got the microphone button on the controller. If you press it, the light comes on to let you know the microphone's off. If you press it again, it lets you know the microphone's on, but the light's off. Hopefully, when the second generation comes out, they'll fix that, because I feel like the microphone should be on when the light turns on, and if you want the microphone off, the light should be off. They need to work on that issue with the headset, because there's things that the ps4 did correctly, in my opinion, when it came to the headset part, where you're able to put in any headset, you're able to hear the person who you're watching when they're streaming, or let's say you're in a party, right? And you're able to do that. Plus, you're able to some degree use a Bluetooth headset, Bluetooth microphone. Unfortunately, Sony took away that option to use Bluetooth. I don't know why. I think that was very stupid of them, in my personal opinion. There are some things that the PS5 does enhance for a bit. For example, I did not believe that the PS5 was backwards compatible with certain PS4 games. GTA 5, which you guys are seeing right now, if you could read by the title, GTA 5 PS4 disc on PS5. It is true. You can put it in a PS5. However, you have to put the disc the opposite side facing towards... How can I put it? Like, we all know, like, the pictures on, like, the CDs, and you would put them towards, you know, the console facing, I guess, outwards. Well, with the PS5, you have to put the picture backwards with the console, you could say, facing inwards, if that makes any sense. I'm still trying to get used to that. The buttons on the PS5 for the on power and for to eject the disc, you're going to have to get used to them, because it is a little bit confusing. So the bigger button on the PS5, You would have thought that was the power button. It is not the power button. It is to eject the CD. So that can get... But the smaller button below the bigger button on the PS5 is the power button. I'm not too certain how I really feel about that, because it is pretty... It can get confusing, but I think over time, once you keep doing it and you get into a certain, rotation, like you always do in life, like you're so used to doing things and you already know, what buttons to push, I think it will get used to over time. I don't know if it's really backwards compatible, let's say with like a PS3 disc or a PS2 or a PS1. I guess it's worth the try to see if it actually is. So if you guys would like to see a video of me putting in a PS2 or PS1 CD in this to see if it is really unquote back, I'm more than willing to do that, because this is the first console, if you ask me, that is proving... I'm 31, about to be 32 next month, and I can tell you, with me growing up, there was no such thing as a backwards compatible console. Like, whatever console that you bought at the time, like, we had the Nintendo, the Sega, and if you wanted to play a Sega game, you had to get a Sega console. If you wanted to play a Nintendo game, you had to get a Nintendo console. The PS1, back in the day, was not backwards compatible to, let's say, the Sega CD, right? Or the Dreamcast. You couldn't play a Sega CD on the Dreamcast, because Dreamcast did come from Sega, for those that do not know that. So if you wanted to play Sega CD, you had to actually buy the Sega CD console. Or if you wanted to play a Sega Dreamcast game, like a Dreamcast game for the disc, you had to get a Dreamcast. Now, the Dreamcast was the first system to actually have internet connection to it. Now, you couldn't play live, but you could definitely go on the internet, which was available back then, but it wasn't like the internet like we have, in today's time, unfortunately. But one could say that it definitely was ahead of its time back then. Then the PS2 came out, because I'm skipping PS1. The PS2 came out. PS2, the fat body PS2 was the first gen, and I had that one. That one did prove to have some issues. A lot of people had to send them to Sony back in the day to get fixed. But it was a good console. It definitely had some good memories for it. Then the PS2 Slim came out a little bit later on. The PS2 Slim was backwards compatible for a PS1 game, and the PS2 Slim was the first console to ever introduce playing DVDs on it back then. So you could say the first backwards compatible console was the PS2, and that was definitely mind-blowing, because there were some good PS1 games.
Hey, did you change your mind?
That was definitely good, and you didn't want to get rid of the PS1 games if you got rid of the PS1 console. That's why everybody did get the PS2 Slim. Now the PS3 came out. The PS3 I did not have. A lot of PS3 had major issues. There were recalls on it. It caused a lot of fires in people's rooms, houses, and that was not a good thing. So a lot of people switched to the 360. The 360 and the PS3 were not backwards compatible consoles. So you could not play a PS2 or a PS1 game in a PS3, just like with the 360, you could not play a Xbox, original Xbox game in a 360. It didn't matter what generation of console that it was with the PS3 or the 360, they were not backwards compatible. But the 360 was definitely ahead of its time. But unfortunately, for a 13-year-old console, it didn't age well after 13 years. So I did not keep mine that I bought a couple months ago. It just was not worth keeping anymore. I still got all my games, but for a 13-year-old console, it did not age well. I think a lot of people can agree with me on that. The PS4, for it being almost 6 years now, it definitely is still age good. Unfortunately, a lot of the servers for it is being discontinued because of the PS5. The PS4 now had some clunks. At times, it was okay for streaming. Sometimes, most of the times, it had issues with streaming. I tried to live stream a little bit ago. Now on the PS4, Life is Strange threw me off at 1 minute. I'm not sure if Life is comfortable.
Hey, Simeon, I got the ride, man.
That.
I'm coming back.
Yeah, if you actually bring the...
Now, what about the console itself? With this console pretty much being high-tech as it is, and it's only going to get more high-tech.
9mm semi-automatic pushed against your skull. Just keep driving where you're going.
You have to have a smart HD 4K TV.
Unlikely, considering my son just got the car. And looking at the way you're going about this, I guess
with
you're working
this console,
Be serious, dude.
because it does enhance a little bit of the graphics, but there are some texture issues, as you guys can see, for those that have played GTA 5 on the PS5. You guys know what I'm talking about. Like, look at Michael's face right now in this. The enhanced graphics a little bit for it that it tries to do for this PS4 disc version does not go good in its favor. It just does not do good in its favor. I'm sorry. For the skins, it just doesn't do good. For like texture-wise with like surroundings, it's okay. And and I talked a little bit about this in a previous video. When this does get re-released, which is supposed to be extended, which means there's going to have more to it, bit of a remaster, a little bit of a remake, and I'm curious to know, what are they going to add? Are they able to add a lot more to this game that we didn't get with the original version, which was the 360, and then the re-release with the PS4, because it is now on a much more bigger engine. So I'm curious to see, are they going to add a lot more guns, car options, things, related to that nature. Which I'm curious about.
Franklin, what the fuck are you doing? It's Sammy. It's not it.
Which I'm curious about, by the way, with that. It does handle pretty decent for the controls and the mechanics. I think a bit better than
You recognize this car? Does it look like it?
Than the PS4 ever done. Now that's just me, in my opinion, right there. Have to stream for the microphone to work without a headset with this, which it seems like it's the case, then I do not have an issue with that. Absolutely, I do not have an issue with that, but I'm hoping that they fix some of the clunks in this. I believe that is something that is definitely needed, and it just went to bad connection. So I'm gonna end it right here. This again was just a test, but I'm out. Peace. If it lets me. No. No, what do you know? It won't let me. Wait. Okay, I'm just getting the hang